The hosts of BrackUSallogy are experts in nothing. They claim no advanced knowledge or profound insights. Instead, they are just three judgmental idiots who really like to bloviate their own opinions whenever given the chance. Take what they have to say with a grain of salt, or not at all. You'll probably be better off that way.
So I feel like as a podcast that started off our very first round talking about breakfast cereals, that we have to address the travesty, the crime that is being committed in the cereal world right now.
It can't be real.
It is a real thing. Cinnamon.
Real.
It is real. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Totino's pizza flavor.
Are you sure you're not getting trolled on Reddit or something?
No, it's a real thing. I've seen it in multiple places now. It is a real thing. It's literally they did a People magazine did a story about it apparently. I think
Food and Wine. Hold on, Food and Wine, Sportskeeda, New York Post, and WKRC are the top stories, like this top news articles that come up when I Google Cinnamon Toast Crunch Totino's.
Yeah, and it's okay. We got to talk about all the ways that this is wrong. First off, there's multiple different flavors of Totino's. So which one is this? Isn't it can't just be pizza, right?
Well, probably like standard pepperoni.
No, it's so the normal like pizza flavor that you get on things. So like if you think of like pizza flavored Bugles or pizza flavored Pringles or pizza flavored, really any chip is just like tomato, basil, and like a general cheese flavor. So I anticipate that that's what it is, and it still makes me want to vomit.
So hold on, you put this in a bowl and then you put milk on it?
I mean, you can enjoy it however you want.
Like the box has the little, it has milk. So
it has milk splashes. You're not wrong.
That is the intention.
But you would be left with pizza milk. And is cinnamon still like a note in this? Like cinnamon pizza?
That's a great question.
The mix of Cinnamon Toast Crunch's sweet Cinnadust paired with Totino's more savory pizza flavor. That's what it says.
This is a fucking thing that exists.
It is a real thing that does in fact exist. You will be able to get it. So Tuesday, January 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, you can log online to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch website and try to grab a box. There will be 1,000 boxes that they're going to be giving away for free. Because I think that's the only way for anyone to get it is to give it away for free.
This is a war crime, right? Like this is a war crime.
It's got to go against something in the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, I mean, this matchup is cursed. And Totino's, I want to know why Totino's is wasting its time with this nonsense.
Yeah, why is it agreeing to this?
Bring back the damn Mexican pizza, Totino's. That's what you need to do.
Under the same umbrella company that owns Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
I mean, they're all owned by one thing after the top. Yeah, something.
BlackRock.
I think at this point, we as a society have reached the point where we've done too much. We've gotten to the end of the internet, and the only thing that's going to save us is a meteor. And this is proof of the hubris of man.
So this is random. It is General Mills. It is all owned by General Mills. Yeah, but General Mills bought Pillsbury, which is what owned Totino's before. Interesting. So similar to media moguls owning 99% of everything that is shoved into our faces when it comes to news and things like that, General Mills might be the Disney of food.
It seems like
too much.
They own too much.
What other things what other future mashups can we potentially hope for or dread given General Mills product owning? I'm looking at General Mills website for their brands. And, okay. There's a whole lot.
100 plus brands across the world.
Up next, we're going to get a mashup between Cocoa Puffs and Blue Buffalo dog food.
Oh God, no!
Blue Buffalo Puffs.
I don't like it. Bugles and man, they own Bugles too.
Bugles and
Old El
Tricks
Paso.
together finally.
Hold on, Old El Paso. We're gonna get a picante sauce chocolate chip cookie.
Lucky Charms with burrito enchilada sauce, enchilada sauce in it.
But hold on, picante sauce Bugles wouldn't be bad.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What we really need to do, we need to start a
Frank's Red Hot chocolate chip cookies.
we need to start a movement. Keep cereal out your motherfucking mouth.
Get my Cinnamon Toast Crunch out of your motherfucking mouth. Seriously, we named that the best cereal. How dare you disgrace it? I'm going to set a reminder on my phone, though, because I do want to try to be one of the 1,000 people that gets this cereal.
If you do...
If I get this cereal, if I'm able to get it, I'm putting some of it in baggies. I'm bringing it to you, and we're all trying it together.
I guarantee you, I will not put that in my mouth.
I've seen you put so much worse in your mouth.
I will kick you square in the penis if you try to hand that to me.
I mean, look, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, but
I already tried
anything.
the Coke flavored Oreos and Oreo flavored Coke. I'd try pizza milk.
You've always been pretty generous about the things you'll do with your mouth.
You're welcome.
No.
Hello, and welcome back to BrackUSallogy. Can I say welcome back if it's our first? Anyway.
I don't think so. I think grammatically that's just wrong.
Welcome to the first BrackUSallogy, the podcast that's going to help you get to know...
decide how to get to know the co-hosts.
We're doing something different this week, all right? We're changing up the format for this week and the next 2 weeks. We're doing a very special series of episodes we have, as you may have heard already, we're calling BrackUSallogy, where you're going to get an opportunity to get to know your co-hosts a little bit better. I'm uncomfortable because my name is Scott Grubb and I'm in the hot seat.
That's correct. I am West Korea's The Interviewer, Matt Robinson.
And I'm the interviewer too, Dan Default.
This week, we're kicking off a special series where we're going to take a little break from tournament brackets. We're going to celebrate our 1-year anniversary as a podcast by putting each one of the co-hosts in a hot seat for the next 3 weeks, while the other 2 co-hosts will ask questions. And we've taken vows of honesty, so you'll get a great opportunity to better know the people. I'm so regretting this suggestion. So anyway, we'll kick it off. Like I said, I'm in the hot seat. You guys are here to ask me questions. What do we got? Now, what do you want to know about me that you don't already know?
We need to officially put you in the hot seat. So,
oh gosh, there's a process.
I need to text somebody. Ashley.
Oh, you're gonna text my wife?
Go ahead and light the matches. His seat. So, Ashley should be coming in any moment to light the matches under your ass because, Scott, you're in the hot seat, bitch.
We need, like, intense lighting and
I'm going to do a weakest link
stuff back in the day. Yeah.
The lights just all come down to you.
All right, so we've
got...
I like
how we both had the same idea of what ideal dramatic lighting is. The weakest link circa 2004.
I've legitimately been thinking about this all morning, and that's the only thing I could think of. So, gentlemen, we've got about 15 questions that we're going to ask that are going to be general. They're going to be common questions amongst each of us. And then we've got some specific personalized questions that Dan and I have come up with for Scott specifically. So, kind of set the house here. Scott, where were you born?
How specific do you want to get here? I was born in Lewis Gale Hospital in Salem, Virginia.
Is Salem, Virginia, did they also have witch trials?
No, different Salem.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
They should have after he was born, though.
Where did this thing come from?
And why is it all of a sudden dark and cloudy outside?
Somebody seen my cat?
They weren't calling for storms.
All right, Scott, since we're going all the way back to the day of your birth, tell us, how big is your family?
My family is the family I was born into.
Well, yeah, your
now?
Nuclear family now.
So my family growing up was myself and my younger sister, and then my mom and my grandmother. That was our household my whole life growing up. Minus a brief period of time, we lived in an apartment briefly and then moved back home. But anyway, and then today it is myself and my wife and 2 kids.
And a buttload of animals.
Yeah. Well, that's coming down. But yeah, we've got my dog Gracie and 2 cats, Mac and Dennis.
And a Highland cow that he is unaware of.
Yeah.
Number 3. Question number 3. What is your favorite band or type of music?
Ooh, I mean, that's pretty easy. My favorite band is a group called Article Sound System. I've been obsessed with them for like 3 years now. That's ARTIKAL Sound System. Check them out. Highly recommend them for everyone.
What kind of music would you say they make?
Yeah, my primary like kind of music at this point is what I will refer to as like white guy reggae.
It's Chet Hanks. All he listens to is Chet Hanks.
I don't know who Chet Hanks is.
You don't know Chet Hanks? That's Tom Hanks' son that did like the reggae, like Rastafarian accent for a while. Do you seriously not know about this?
I don't know about this, but I'm very intrigued to learn more.
Right.
But yeah, like South Florida or South California style reggae bands like, well, Pepper's Hawaiian, but still Pepper or The Movement or Stick Figure. I've been listening to a lot of those. I also love OAR. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I probably should say them considering as I look up around my room, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 signed posters of theirs. And I'm going to go see them again in June and possibly again in September. So yeah, probably them. I would say they rank up there. Yeah, that's my general type of mood and music, but every now and then I'll break out some country, or I've also gotten really big into, again, white guy rap too. Like, Nick D and, what's that other guy's name? Connor Price. Those names mean nothing to the 2 of you. They're from TikTok, which means they're too young for you. You're too old for them. Ty Verdes, I like him a lot too. Anyway, that was a lot of answers there, but yeah, I highly again recommend Article Sound System for anyone who's never heard of them. They're coming around in they're doing a show in Denver and then a show in Colorado Springs at the beginning of March, and I'm going to both of them. So,
all right,
nice.
Yeah.
All right, Scootimus, what is your best and worst job?
Best job I ever had and worst job I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Best job I've had, I've really been pretty fortunate in that space. I've had some really good ones. I mean, in high school, I worked at Chuck E. Cheese and I loved that. I was there for like 5 years through high school and the beginning of college.
I have heard you talk about how much you loved being in that rat suit.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great job for a high schooler. And then being a corporate trainer in a call center environment was a lot of fun. I would say, you guys are going to get big heads. My best job I ever had was probably as a training manager for the call center. Mainly because I got to boss the 2 of you around and I was responsible for writing your annual reviews and everything.
Half of that is true.
Team.
Yeah.
Half of what you just said is true. You did not get to boss anybody around.
I had the opportunity to boss everyone around. I just was a better boss than that.
No one listened.
Worst job I ever had? There was a brief period after I left the the job as a training manager where I filled in a gap as a like fuel truck dispatcher. So like making sure that fuel trucks were going to the gas stations that they needed to make sure the gas stations had gas before their tanks got empty. I did that for like a month and that sucked. And then I got a new opportunity and left. Yeah, it was bad. It was rough.
That sounds like way too much responsibility on you
to
make sure that the community gets gasoline.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So
also, how have neither of us heard about this? Like,
it was like a month-long blip in my employment. I don't even put it on resumes. Like, I don't bother. It was so irrelevant. So yeah.
All right. Let's think back. Let's get a tiny little Scott Gorb.
Get the Wayback Machine.
What did you want to be when you grew up as a kid?
When I was a kid, I mean, as far back as I can remember, I think my answer is pretty much the same, and it really explains a lot. I think about how this podcast originated. I've always wanted to be into like stand-up comedy or do like entertainment or performance in some fashion to that in that way.
Well, because you were a theater kid, right?
I was not a theater kid. No.
I don't know. No. I have a very theater kid energy most of the time.
Are you calling me dramatic?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I grew up idolizing like Jim Carrey, and I remember watching like Johnny Carson back in the day, Conan O'Brien.
That's why you don't like vaccines, right? What? I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I was trying to could have played into it. Jim Carrey, vaccines.
Is he anti-vax?
Yeah.
Have I missed that memo?
I also didn't.
I know look. I know he's a little weird these days. He's gone off his rocker a bit.
Am I just more collectively tuned in than either of you somehow?
I don't know that I've ever heard Jim Carrey say anything about vaccinations. I know he's all like, I am a facade of a person and one with the world, and my spirit permeates through all but I haven't heard I haven't heard his stance on how his spirit permeating me has anything to do with vaccinations. But those are the people that I was into as a kid, and I wanted to be like when I grew up. I always George Carlin, that was another big one, man. Like and Lewis Black, like they're I've always thought that the voice of the stand-up comedian and that Joker role is really important from like a societal standpoint, and being able to kind of push back against the norms and saying things that not everyone's comfortable with saying. That was always what I wanted to be.
I like it.
Well, in the same vein, why did you get into podcasting?
I mean, that was pretty much it. I listen to quite a few podcasts. Most of mine are generally comedy focused, and I've been again talking about Conan O'Brien. I've been listening to his recently and like getting caught up on it. But wanting to create something that people could find potentially entertaining, or that would be entertaining for us to do. It's a good way for us to, we the three of us talk a lot as it is playing video games and stuff, but it's a good opportunity to vary up some conversation and have set aside guided time to stay connected with friends, and like I said, hopefully make something people find entertaining.
I have learned way too much about both of you since we've started this podcast.
Yeah, but only the important stuff, not like weird jobs I had for 1 month.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. You are a talkative person.
Someone might say
that. If you get 3 words and only 3 words to describe yourself, what would they be?
Only 3 words to describe myself. I think I am. I would say. Ooh, that's interesting.
Just for the listeners to vamp a little bit while Scott is coming up with 3 words. this is a list of questions, these 15 that we came up with about 2 weeks ago. We've had time to ruminate and to marinate on these questions, at least the ones that have been asked so far.
I like how Scott also answered the question in his head. He was, that's interesting. He gave an answer to himself.
I thought of a word and then I second guessed it. So I'm going to go with my first thought, which is difficult. I think I'm difficult. I think I can be a difficult person.
Okay, I can agree with that, but why?
Why?
Or give us an example.
I have some maybe control issues, maybe some OCD like tendencies. My love language is aggressive and berating, primarily to the two of you. So Matt's not disagreeing there.
Your love language is cheese grater.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I think that makes me a bit difficult, but I would say that I am 2 more words. I'm gonna say I feel like I'm a loyal person. And I am third word. I mean, you're not wrong, but that's not all the time. It's just like 85%. Because sometimes I'm talking to the two of you, and then it's just not. Yeah, it's just downhill from there,
or uphill. And yeah.
I'm boisterous. I'm a boisterous person. That word just popped in my head, and it was like, yep, that's right.
So, difficult, loyal, and boisterous. That is a sell right there.
Do you feel like that's accurate? What 3 words would you use to describe me?
Yeah, no, those are accurate for sure.
Okay.
I don't know that I want to come up with any others. I'm just saying.
My 3 would be slippery when wet.
For Scott?
Yeah.
He's slippery when he's wet.
Yeah.
How often are you wrestling him like a pig? Like
more often than you would. That was my worst job.
Hey Matt, you know how we're never available to play video games on Tuesday nights? We have something to tell you.
It's human pig wrestling.
I like to hear Dan squeal.
Well, speaking of squealing, Scoot,
that's quite the transition.
What is your most memorable pet?
Most memorable pet? I mean, I haven't had anything like really weird or exotic at any point in my life.
Doesn't have to be weird or exotic, but just one that holds a special place in your heart.
Or stomach.
Yeah, that's true too.
Perry the penguin was delicious.
Don't joke about eating a penguin. How dare you?
I think penguin meat might be secretly delicious. But I don't know if I'm willing to find out. Most memorable pet is probably the dog that we have right now, Gracie. She is super cuddly. She is like the perfect. She has this sixth sense for anxiety, and so like, I don't know, man. If someone in the house is like upset or just distraught in any way, she like picks up on it and goes to that person for cuddles and attention, and like she just has a sixth sense for it. And she's got ridiculous nicknames like Princess Chicken McNugget. And
she came up with that one herself though, right?
She did. She told us that's what she preferred to be called. She's an into bed cuddling type of dog. She's our little our comfort blanket. Heavily weighted comfort blanket. She's the densest, thickest little dog.
She's pretty dense.
Yeah, man. She's part, so as best we can guess, she's like part corgi and part pit. So she's like short and stout and brown with the white paws. But when she runs at you and jumps, it's just freaking dense muscle just nailing you. And she's right at dick height, which is not always the best either. But yeah, I would say she's the most memorable. I've had a fair number of pets throughout the years, though.
Yeah. If you had to give somebody a piece of advice right now, what would it be?
Don't take your pants off around Dan.
Get that on a bumper sticker. Honestly. Print that, chat, clip that, and print it out.
There you go.
We should make BrackUSallogy bumper stickers, and that's one of them.
Just BrackUSallogy logo right underneath it. Don't take your pants off around Dan. Real life. I never feel like I have a wisdom enough to distribute life advice. Like, who gives a shit what I'm saying?
I mean, I guess that's a good point, but we do like that. People can listen to this, so like, how would you impact their lives or make them better? What would you be a statement that you could say in these trying times to make life better for someone, or to try to give them direction on staying positive or something else, or just not? It could just be like, give up.
Eat the rich. Yeah. I think that no matter what is currently going on, thinking, why are you so blurry? What did you just do to your video?
I don't know. But
you broke it.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. It wouldn't refocus. I'm like...
We just had to stick your camera up your nose briefly to get it to refocus on your face. I mean, from an advice standpoint, I think that one of the things that's always kind of bothered me with society as a whole is that we tend to put a lot of weight on our occupation, right? I think about how often, like, you meet somebody for the first time, a friend of a friend or whatever, and you get introduced, and your tendency is, you say you introduce yourself, you say your name or whatever, and then one of the first things that comes up in conversation is, what do you do? What does that really tell anybody about anybody? Like, maybe it gives you an insight to their higher education if they utilize it or not, but like, I don't know. I feel like we need to put way less emphasis on what we do for work as a society, and try and get back to the core of who we are as actual people.
That's a good answer.
I know.
All right, Scoot. Well, tell us about a pivotal decision that you made that changed your path.
Matt's just dismantling his whole setup over here. It's very distracting. He's on mute, but it's very distracting. A pivotal decision I made that changed my whole path. I mean, that's gotta be moving from Virginia to Colorado. And I feel like I'm probably stealing Dan's later answer, but to this question. But yeah, I mean, I moved from Virginia to Colorado, was it 10 years ago now? Has it really been that long already? Almost 10 years? And
it would be 11 because my 10 years is coming up this year.
No one asked you. And so I guess I did kind of form it as a question, didn't I? So yeah, I think that, I mean, a lot of life has happened in the time frame since I moved out here. I've definitely am a different person than I was before moving out here. I'm in a lot different situation in a lot of different ways. So I would say that's probably the most pivotal one. I mean, yeah, it had a ripple effect on my life in the way that things occurred after that. But I wouldn't change it. I'm happy to be here.
For those of you not watching, Matt is using like a comically large microphone on a stick. It's like Bob Barker's microphone, but with a huge, I don't know,
It felt
grapefruit-sized microphone head on it.
Look, it felt like I've been wanting to try this where I can actually just like hold my microphone, but it's the same microphone that I've had, but I felt like this was the appropriate platform in which to change. Was in the middle of an episode. All right, Scott. I'm sorry. If you could go back in time, you've got a time machine. Yeah. What's one thing you would do differently?
I would probably, I would try to be a lot smarter with how I use money. I say as I have a wall of Funko Pops behind me and another wall of pro wrestling action figures for a pro wrestling company I don't even watch. Ain't nobody got time for that anymore. I'd probably try and be a lot wiser with my money. Do some investments, pad my 401k a little bit better. But it sounds cliche, but the rest of the decisions I've made in life have got me here, and I have no qualms with where I'm at right now. It'd just be nice to have a bit of a nest egg more. So, I'd go back. Let's see, I'd go back maybe 7 or 8 years, and try to make some wise investments at that time.
Do you think? You said nest egg, and it made me think of something. If this is not one of our questions, but this is just a follow-up question.
It's a rolling conversation. Let's go.
Yeah. Do you think that if you were given the option to lay an egg, but it was creating a nest egg, like it was like you become the golden goose, right? You can lay a golden egg.
Yeah.
But we're talking like proportionate. So like how a chicken's egg, the size of them to a chicken, it would be that size, but to a human. So it would be a much larger egg than like just a chicken's egg.
So you can get rich, but you would have a prolapsed anus, is basically the question.
Yeah, or would it come out of the pee hole?
Oh my God, that's even worse.
Would you do that?
Give me a dollar amount. How much is this egg worth?
We're gonna call it like 3 solid pounds of gold.
How many dollars is that?
I don't know, man. One of my hands is holding a microphone. I can't Google.
That's your choice.
Right now. Yeah, this was your question. So 3 pounds.
3 pounds of gold would be worth $73,000 to $74,000, depending on the price of gold per troy ounce and the type of gold. That's only $74,000.
All right, 15 pounds.
Oh my God!
No, hold on. No, that still has to come out of somewhere.
All right, we can continue. We can get back to our actual questions, our regularly scheduled program.
Oh. Well, now that is going to be causing me nightmares.
I would do it 4 times and then pay for a surgery to make it stop happening.
Make it go away.
Yeah.
So, Scott, tell me, have you had or do you have any reoccurring dreams?
I don't typically. I'm sure I dream, but I don't often remember them. It's very rare that I remember a dream. So I don't think I really have any recurring dreams. I do have there's been periods of time where I've had recurring locations that'll show up in a dream. Like if I'm in a shopping mall or something in a dream, apparently my subconscious has a very clear idea of what a shopping mall in a dream looks like, and it's always looks the same, and it's not any real mall. It doesn't look like anything anywhere anyone's ever actually been, but it always looks the same in my head, and I don't think I could describe it now, but I don't think I've ever really had recurring dreams. I don't dream often enough, I think, for that.
Okay.
I did have a night terror once as a kid, dreaming about snakes, and woke up and was hallucinating that there was a snake on me. Yeah. Not exactly recurring though either. Fucking hate snakes.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. It can only be one.
Okay.
What superpower would you have? Now, I
Oh,
think it's
balls.
important. So I ask this question to people a lot. I think it's important to say, specifically, you can only have one superpower. So you can't say you would be Superman because Superman has a plethora of superpowers.
Yeah.
Just one. I want to have do I have like efficient and effective control over it?
Yeah, I'd say that you have pretty good control over it. Like it's your superpower for sure.
I think that there would be a lot of I don't know. It's tough like from a practical standpoint versus like a what can I have the most fun with? It immediately tells me a lot about myself because I think it brings out the evil villain in me to think about even think about it. Because like from one practical standpoint, it's like, oh, flying would be super cool because then I could get anywhere real easily. But then it's like if I'm the only one, it's like it's not useful for a family vacation. I can't pile everyone's luggage and the kids on top of me and fly somewhere, you know. I think I'm gonna have to go with like a telepathy. I think being able to selectively like look at someone and read their thoughts is dangerous and and I would abuse it almost undoubtedly.
Well, telepathy is also the ability to place thoughts into other people's minds.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Just streaming porn 24/7 to somebody. It's just all it is.
But I mean,
you could do that. Never mind.
I feel like using that power, like you could definitely, you could, yeah.
I think we are witnessing his like hero or villain origin story right now.
It's an origin story of some kind for sure. All right, I'm going to put my microphone back up here as Dan asks the next question.
Okay. So if you won the lottery, what would you spend your lottery winnings on?
Well, I think there would be, I would like immediately. Are we talking like just like silly, extravagant, unnecessary purchase?
Let's go silly, extravagant, unnecessary purchases.
I mean, I'm probably gonna buy season tickets to the Titans and have like a box or something. I have to travel out to Nashville a lot. Like that's a lot of plane tickets. But and I mean the team is really shitty and I'm not sure I feel like supporting the ownership to that degree, but that seems like the obvious answer to me. The opportunity to get to see them play in Nashville whenever I want. But you know, I mean, I want to you know, there'd be a nice house up in the Denver area. I don't want to leave the Denver area. I like it a lot. It's a nice house up there, something close to music venues. I'd probably way too many concert tickets. That would definitely be on the list. Yeah, quite a few vehicles just because it'd be fun. Like, why not? 6-car garage full.
What number one vehicle? What would that be?
A convertible 1965 to 68 Mustang red with white leather interior and a white canvas top. Not specific or anything.
Yeah, you haven't thought about this at all, clearly.
No, not even a little bit. But yeah, I mean, and then plane, you know, lots of plane tickets back and forth to Nashville to watch the Titans play. Maybe, depending on how much I win, possibly part of an ownership stake in the team to try and fix some things.
Fair. Yeah. I could just imagine like the Nashville Tribune or whatever the newspaper is locally being like, so some random guy just bought part of the team and thinks he's going to make it better.
Coming out with like a hit piece of all your like terrible misgivings in your past.
Oh gosh, yeah. That deep dive would take all of 5 minutes and I'd be ruined.
All right, last of our Gen Pop questions. When's the last time you cried?
Last night when we stopped playing video games because I missed you so much.
You chose to stop playing video games. I was up for another hour.
It was 2 a.m. I was also awake for another hour, but that was not my fault. I couldn't get to sleep, and then my kid punched me in the face.
Good kid.
Seriously, man. He sleeps in the middle of the bed, and he freaking rolls over, and he just flails his arm. Smacks me right in the face, like twice. Probably around... the last time I can recall for sure, that's probably the last time, was I think probably like Christmas night. I lost my mom 2 years ago now. So second Christmas without her. And that's still kind of tough, man. Like, especially the thing that always gets me, and I'll try and say it here without it getting me again, is, we had my daughter during COVID, like right at the beginning of it. And then we had my son still basically kind of near the end of it. It's crazy to think that it lasted that long. And my mom was sick. She had leukemia. So there was never really a good opportunity for us to safely travel or to safely be near her without running the risk of, her catching something and ultimately it being worse. And now, in hindsight, ultimately it means that she had 2 grandkids she never got to meet. They never got to meet her. And so things like Christmas and big events like that sometimes comes to mind, and, it can be a little upsetting.
Yeah. I do think that it's on that note, for anybody listening, normalize crying again. It's good for you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Christmas night, just having had that whole day and them being so excited about the gifts. And I think what got me is, at the end of that night, like, they FaceTimed their grandmother, my wife's mom, and they were all excited and showing her the presents and everything. And it was kind of like, man, they're never going to get to do that with my mom. My mom never got that experience with them. So, but I mean, I try to remember, like, before she passed, my sister had a daughter. So and my mom lived with them for quite a while. So she did get that experience of having a grandchild and being there with them and, all the time. And that's reassuring. But, my daughter was the first, and she only really ever got to FaceTime, and that was it. And then, was gone when she was 3. So that still stings a little bit. And I'm sure probably always will. That's going to be in the back of my mind for a lot of life events coming up. First day of kindergarten in the fall, like, that's going to be on my mind. So, but try and be grateful for what I do have,
Yeah.
Virtual hugs, buddy.
Look, you guys asked the sad question, okay?
On that note, we're going to get into our more personal questions that Dan and I came up with. Do you want to go first on this one, Dan?
Dick.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Look, like he's starting a fire? Like
it's excitement.
Look, on the podcast, they only have the sound, okay?
All right. So have you ever been caught in the act? And if so, by whom? And this is not the recipient of the act, like, them waking up.
It's not that time Dan woke up in the middle of the night while we were camping.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna bite down.
Yeah, Kyle, man, I hate you guys. Yeah, I can remember a time in high school. My girlfriend at the time was at the house, and we were messing around.
Want to dox her real quick, or
no?
Oh,
and my mom bust in the door, and we both were like scrambling to like cover whatever. yeah, and we were trying to like come up. We were scrambling to hide stuff and like stumbling over our words and trying to come up with excuses for why we were in whatever compromised position we were in. That was very uncomfortable. That was, yeah. I think that's the only time ever really been caught in the act that I can recall. Yeah, that was traumatizing.
I swear she fell.
I like dove in the closet and like was trying to grab pants to put on.
Hard to do all of that with an erection too.
Yeah. Yeah. The door didn't want to close, you know, it was.
I like the idea that your mom busts into what I can only assume is your room and you dive into the closet like she can't see me.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. And then like I'm a teen, she's like, "Why are you in the closet?" Like what excuse do I have for that? But yeah, I'm looking for something. With the door closed? Yeah, it's a glow in the dark thing.
It's the only way to find it.
Yeah, it was. There was no concealing what was going on there.
Yeah, it's valid.
Just trying to BS our way out of it.
Okay, what is the biggest animal that you could beat in a fight?
Okay. Biggest animal I could beat in a fight would be, I'm gonna say, maybe like a I think I could take a raccoon. Anything bigger? What? Why are you look shocked at that answer?
The biggest animal you could take in a fight, and you're going with raccoon right now?
I'm working my way up the list, okay? I'm not going to start at bear. Like, we know that's not the right answer.
There's kangaroo? A median in there.
I know. I'm working my way through. I'm chopping away. You know, I think kangaroo is probably not realistic. I got to come down a little bit from that. They're muscular. They're terrifying.
Yeah, kangaroo will fuck you up, buddy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So work way down from kangaroo, work my way up from raccoon. What's in the middle there, you know? I think I could take I'm like blanking on animals. What kind of animal would be in there?
What about like an eagle?
I don't know. I mean, it's got that flight advantage. It's gonna have claws and like a, you know, it's got a lot more maneuverability than I have, I feel like.
And eagles are massive, by the way.
Yeah, they're not small birds.
Massive birds.
Maybe, I mean, I feel like I could take some kind of like large, like possibly a good shark or something. Cause you know, I mean, if it's on dry land, it's not going to stand a chance anyway, you know?
It's just flopping at you.
Yeah.
Punch it once and you're like, that's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think some of it depends on the environment of the fight. But if we're talking one-on-one dry land, like we're both in our own element and environment, I'm going to say I feel like I would be comfortable against like a small wolf, maybe a large dog type creature, you know? Like it could definitely, I think it's going to be kind of a close, even fight. Like if it gets a good bite on me, I might be kind of screwed. But if I can get behind it and like, you know, get an arm around its neck, I think it may be
rear naked in there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why we'd have to have naked rears, but yeah, I mean, we could get there.
Yeah, because pants don't fit them very well.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah.
All right. So small wolf or dog?
Yeah.
All right. My question for you, Scortimus. If you could do one thing and 100% get away with it, nobody would ever know you did it, what would that one thing be?
Ooh. But I feel like my immediate answer for this is going to get the entire podcast flagged by the FBI.
Probably.
Do you want me to beep that real like satire? It's all satire.
Yes, I'm joking. Wink. You can choose to edit that however you want. I mean, I'm not a fiendish person. I mean, again, we're probably talking something that's going to net me financially, but which honestly would probably net most of the country financially. Yeah, I mean, but like I don't want to rob a bank because I feel like for the person that you're robbing, like the people behind the that's traumatizing for them too. Like there's a person impact. I don't want to cause anyone any harm in that way. So maybe some kind of rig. I'd like to rig the lottery in my favor and get away with it. There we go.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're never getting monetized.
We're isolating 50% of the population for our. Look, if they haven't figured it out by now from listening to this show,
I don't know. That's on them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna have a question, going back to the sadness of who is someone from your life that you miss the most, but I feel like we have the answer to that one, or at least we know it. If you want to say it out loud.
Yeah, I mean, that is the obvious answer, but it's not the only one. Like, there are a lot. I see a lot of things on, or maybe not a lot of things, but I see a common meme where people are like, don't get upset about not calling in and checking on people if no one calls in and checks on you. The phone works both ways, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I mean, I guess, but somebody's got to initiate that. And there's a lot of friends I've had over my life that, we grow up, we move away, time moves on, we're all in different places in our lives. And, there's some people that I used to be really, really close with that just now, that's not our reality anymore. And so, there's quite a few people in my lifetime that I miss quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, my mom's the obvious answer, but there's quite a few people out there that I just don't get to see as much as I used to, or talk to as often as I used to.
Yeah. Do you want to call any of them out, like currently, like any individual come to mind other than your mom?
Yeah, I mean, so there's people I still call friends to this day that I've known since like 6th grade, like my buddies Ryan and Gil. I mean, for fucking Ryan also moved from Virginia to Colorado. He'd made that 1,500-mile trek, and for a while lived 20 minutes away, and it's still hardly saw him ever because just life is time consuming and demanding, and didn't get out that often to be able to hang out with them. And then Gil's still back in Virginia. Don't get to see him hardly ever, and barely talk to him anymore at this point. So and again, it's not like avoidance or anything. It's just it's hard to keep up with that many people. My old college roommate Kevin, same story. So yeah, it's there's quite a few people in my life that I'd like to spend less time with you guys to be able to talk to.
Yeah, it's like that.
Makes
it's like
sense.
that Jurassic Park quote. Life gets in the way.
Exactly, you nailed it.
All right, Scott. What is the biggest lie you've ever told and not got caught? Keep in mind, you are saying this on a medium that is recorded and cast out to anybody that can listen.
It's probably that time I told you guys I wanted to start a podcast with the two of you.
That lie is still going, bro.
It's like, I want you guys to be part of it. It would, biggest lie I ever told and never got caught. I did some dumb shit when I was a teenager. So there was a time once when I was a teenager where it had snowed, was snowing, in the process of snow. There was quite a bit. And I had a little 2-door Chevy Cavalier that was not meant for driving in these conditions at all. And I think school had been closed on the Friday because of it, and I was supposed to work on Saturday. And so I convinced my mom that I needed to try and we lived like in the woods on the mountain in unpaved, not paved, what is the word I'm looking for?
Finished?
No. Plowed. They did not plow our roads. I lived in the woods in the boonies. So I convinced my mom that before the storm got any worse, I need to try and get off the mountain and go stay with my friend who lived more in town so that I could get to work the next morning. And she bought that hook, line, and sinker. So I packed up my stuff in an overnight bag and a uniform for the work the next day. And I drove to my buddy's house, just like I said I was going to do. And I called her from his house phone so that she knew that's where I was and let her know that I made it safely. And then I left that bag and left my buddy's house. And I went to the house of the girl that I was seeing at the time. The same one who I got busted with in the earlier story.
Was this pre or post busting?
I don't remember. Well, it was pre-busting because I didn't do that until I got there.
Gotcha.
And so I drove in these dangerous snow conditions from his house to her house, where I stayed for a couple hours. We played board games. We read the encyclopedia. We watched educational videos.
Prayer circle.
Narrated by Lamar Burton. And then I went back to my buddy's house. But I think that like dastardly plan of like sneaking around, she never knew about any of that. And I could have very easily wrecked my car because it was terrible conditions. But, there's quite a few things like that in my past that I somehow managed to get away with. So there were some instances of pipe bombs and stealing lawn statues and stuff like that I got away with too. But we don't need to talk about all of them.
On that note, switch gears a little bit. Okay, hypothetical. This is what I'm best at. Your action figure is getting made. Okay. What kung fu grip like feature does your action figure have? Now, kung fu grip is just an example, right? Because that, like, what would be on the packaging being like, it comes with this feature? Like a CPAP? Does it come with?
What accessories come with my action figure? CPAP's going to have to be one of them because without it, I'd die.
Like the idea of somehow you create it so the PPAP, the PPAP has to be on the little action figure's face, or else its face melts overnight.
It makes terribly obnoxious sounds is what happens if it doesn't have its CPAP. It's going to have a little pump in the back. You just push the pump and then there's like a,
I don't know where this is going.
You do know where it's going. Yeah, a little pump in the back just for anatomically correct reaction in the front, just pump it up. That would be the feature of my action figure.
Nice.
The Scott Grubb with disappointing erection and CPAP.
Yeah, it would have a pump in the back for a little micro dick erection, and then it would have a CPAP, and it would have probably a video game controller or a headset or something like that. Mm. That would be my action figures special features and 2 additional accessories.
Nice.
That was a good one.
I made myself Scott. Very happy when I came up with that one, by the way.
My action figure looks very happy when you pump it up too.
So in a world of possibilities,
in a world,
what Tennessee Titans player, past or present, would you most want to sleep with?
What?
It's a valid question. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest.
I don't know what's confusing about it.
There's a couple things that are confusing about it. I'm wondering how this is the question you came up with in the first place. Frank Wycheck.
Do you want to explain who that is?
Yeah, who the fuck is Frank Wycheck?
No, I don't. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
I gotta look at when he played. I don't know. He was a tight end for the. Why did I pick a tight end?
Yeah, he was.
That explains it.
Oh man, there you go. That's why, because he was tight end.
You'd rather have a tight end than a wide receiver.
There you go.
All right.
You guys are the worst.
Would you rather own a gas station, a rural motel, or a hot dog cart?
I'm gonna go gas station.
Cool.
If you would have said hotel, I would have been like, psycho. All right. I think, no, I went first. So Matt still has one question. So second to last question, my final question. If you could go on tour with any one band for a year, who would it be and why?
And why is it My Chemical Romance as they re-released the Black Parade?
Ooh, that's tempting. I think if I could go on tour with a band and like follow them around for a year, I think I would have to pick probably OAR. Again, Article Sound System being a favorite and everything, but I feel like OAR plays some really cool and interesting venues to see. I've met them before, and they're super nice guys. I think it'd be really, and just, of course, you see what they show you on social media and that parasocial relationship being what it is. They seem like a group of like really true friends that have been friends from the beginning, and just that environment would be super fun to be in for a full year. And then, like I said, I mean, all the places that they get to go and perform. This year, they're not doing a big tour, but they're doing like 2 shows in Colorado. They're just calling it their Colorado road trip. They're playing Red Rocks and Vail. So yeah, getting to go to a lot of the places that they get to go, and like the kind of iconic venues that they've played, and just knowing kind of the vibe that they have, I think that they'd be a super fun group to follow around for a year.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think we're into the last question. Completely.
This hasn't been that bad so far. Hit me with a hard one. Come on.
Fuck.
Hit me with your last question. How about that?
Who is someone that you have or currently do look up to?
No.
That's just while he's on his knees.
Someone I have in the past or currently do look up to.
Yep.
I think that I've said his name earlier. I'm gonna say again, I think I kind of look up to and admire Conan O'Brien a little bit. I think that he changed the late night landscape quite a bit with such an irreverent and unusual humor type. And I think that he, especially if you listen to his podcast where he's interviewing celebrities on a more not restrained by the time of TV, but like getting into more real conversation with them. And he reveals a lot more of himself there as well. His intelligence, I mean, he's a Harvard grad, his work ethic, and then just like the way that he interacts with people, I think it does kind of remind me a lot of myself, and like being able to build on that. Because he, like, again, if you ever really watch him or listen, like the relationship that he has with his personal assistant, he's very like on camera and in He's very like aggressive and abusive with her. Very similar to the way that I talk to you two. But she, like, you can tell that there's a real affection there. Like, they are family to each other, and she loves working with him and for him. And like that kind of demeanor. I had somebody, you guys know, I had somebody tell me once, a former employee of mine when I was in the management role, that I was like the most charismatic asshole they ever met. That somehow I could just get away with saying like shit to people all the time and still just like I got away with it. I could say it in a way that people understood it was joking, and that, you know, I do still truly care and want the best for people, even if I am commenting about how your dick stands up more than, or your nose stands up more than your dick when you lay down, Dan. But you know, that's that I think he brings a lot of that energy. So I'd love to, I kind of idolize him in the way of like, I want to be able to make a career out of that too.
All right. Hold on. Let me text Ashley to put the fire out. I think.
Do you feel like you know me better now? Have you learned something about me?
I have learned things about you.
Yeah, I did. I didn't think I was gonna, but I did.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know you were a bear chaser. That's new. But I get it. Well, I think that wraps up our first episode
BrackUSallogy.
of BrackUSallogy. Scott, there were other questions that we had lined up, but
how many more?
Time. I had a few more.
Rapid fire.
I had a few options.
Let's go rapid fire. I'm ready. 1-word answers.
You have to make a movie right now. What is it called?
The Everlasting Appeal of Dr. Lucidius.
Okay. Who's the most underrated entertainer?
Most underrated entertainer is probably, I wasn't prepared for this level of thought. Underrated. Rapid fire. I know. Most underrated entertainer is Pete Holmes.
Favorite porn star?
I don't know.
What's your most controversial opinion? You ever talk to a therapist about Dan or I?
No.
Should you?
Yes. So, a therapist would listen to this podcast and go, "You guys have an unhealthy relationship."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I had prepped, but I think this was a good first session. Good.
You sound like a therapist. This is a good first session. We should come back and revisit.
The bill is in the mail. Here's what I'm going to need you to do.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, this has been fun being in the hot seat. I'm looking forward to putting you two there next.
I'm not looking forward to being in it. I'm glad I'm going last.
I've kept it warm for you.
Mostly by farting.
Yeah, see, I beat you to it. As usual, we want to thank everyone for giving this episode a listen. Hopefully you've learned more about me as well. Feel free to send me more questions. I'm an open book. Why not? Actually, you can do that.
I got an idea. How about we put a submission out to our audience to give us questions, and we can revisit this in the future, asking only audience submitted questions.
There we go. You can send us those questions through any of our social medias at BrackUtology, BrackEtAllogy. We're on Facebook. We're on Blue Sky. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're on, is that all of them?
LinkedIn.
We're not on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram, and we have a Discord. So you can find us and submit questions on any of those platforms. As usual, thank you for listening. Thank you to Aaron O'Donnell for the music here at the beginning and end of every episode.
And thank you to you, Scott, for being honest and open.
Thank you for also preparing questions and not being too rough. I feel like we did okay here.
Yeah.
Well, slippery when wet. What can you say?
Yeah, that's it. I haven't made sure to lube up before we came into this situation. So I can just slip through these questions. All right. Fellas, I think that's a podcast. I have been in the hot seat. My name is Scott Grubb.
I am West Korea's the interviewer, Matt Robison.
And I'm the interviewer, Dan Default.
Bye-bye.
I said it because I was in the hot seat.